Hey everyone, hope you're doing well wherever you are. I decided to make a fourth episode to the Storytime series where I tell you a personal story about my life. Didn't have to say it that way. But anyway, I've been answering a little bit of emails that people have been sending me and answering questions on Ask FM, and one of the more popular questions is, how do I ask out a girl to prom? And so this story is going to be about exactly that and how I did it my junior year of high school. So first off, let me go ahead and set some backstory with the particular girl. Now, this girl was wicked smart. In fact, the smartest in my entire school. Very gorgeous too, but that's not the point. Her GPA was higher than my KD, and that's saying something, because at one point my KD was at 20. But let me get back on subject here for the story time. Even as early as my junior year of high school, I knew how to competently edit videos, because I played a lot of RuneScape at the time, and I enjoyed making RuneScape guides. Kind of kept that to myself, obviously. That's not the first thing you tell a girl. It's like, hey girl, I got me an Armato God Sword, and I know how to pray flick. Obviously, I'm lying here. If you tell a girl that, like, instant way to turn on her engines, if you catch my drift. But anyway, I've established that I know how to edit videos, and like I said, I kept this to myself. So my girlfriend at the time had no idea that I knew what the hell I was doing. And yes, I mentioned that she was my girlfriend at the time, and for some reason, even though she was already my girlfriend, I had to ask her to prom because it wasn't assumed that I was going with her, and that's a very stupid thing. But let me give you youngins some advice here if you're still in high school. Whatever the girl wants, she gets. Life is a lot easier that way. Trust me, I'm wise beyond my years in this one. She kept strongly hinting that I should ask her to prom. And the way she did this is she kept sending me cute little prom imitation videos of guys asking girls to prom. Likewise, I kept sending her joke videos of where the prom invitation goes terribly wrong, or it's like a level of public embarrassment so bad that she doesn't even want me to ask her out to prom. Because remember, my goal was not to ask her to prom. I kind of wanted to stand my ground and say, nope, you're already my girlfriend, I don't have to ask you. It's also worth mentioning that I said we shouldn't even go to prom. I mean, we're juniors, right? We could just go our senior year, and instead for junior year, we could take like a vacation to Disney World or something for the exact same cost. And she gives me just a blank expression on her face, like, no, Cammy. Obviously, I want to go to prom. That's every girl's dream. She didn't say it in those exact words. It was more like, fuck you, Cammy, we're going to prom. So we kept sending links of videos back and forth for about a week. And that's when I had this brilliant idea to create a video where I'm asking her to prom, but I disguise it as the fact under someone else's channel as like a prom invitation video when it's actually my invitation to prom for her. It was brilliant. I didn't have to do anything crazy, but I still felt like it was enough of a thoughtful and romantic gesture that she would appreciate it and not be pissed at me for not wanting to ask her to prom because she was my girlfriend and I was an asshole. It surprisingly went a lot better than expected. So we were laying on her bed one day because she would tutor me in class. I know. I'm going to say tutor with like me making the little quotation marks in real life, if you catch my drift. But sorry, Mom, if you're watching this video. But yes. She was on her bed with her laptop flipped up, looking at prom imitation videos, and I knew exactly the like kind of keywords I had to type for my video to pop up. So I did just that. I was like, all right, let me go search most thoughtful, best prom imitation ever, and then see what pops up. And so of course I click my link, and it pops up. It looks like any other prom imitation video, but then like a slideshow of our relationship and all our cool moments we spent together popped up, and I'm in the video. I'm like, yo girl, I may be a bit hard-headed sometimes and not want to ask you to prom, but you're too amazing for me not to, or something along those lines. I refuse to show the video on YouTube. Like, I'm just gonna say that out there, so good luck finding it, because you're not. At least I hope you're not. It's not the most embarrassing thing that ever happened ever, but you don't need to see that shit. And I obviously didn't say, yo girl. I said it much nicer, much more eloquently, like you would see in the fucking Dear John movie. Like, I was that suave. I didn't have a beard at the time, but I look cute as fuck. So, like, trust me, It worked. Whatever I did worked. She liked it. But I could see a little sliver, a shroud of disappointment in her face because I didn't do it in a public setting like she wanted. So now I remember this forever. I'm going to learn from this mistake. She wanted it to be in a public setting, whether or not she admitted that to me or not. So I know this. Again, let me share some of my wisdom with you young guys out there. Girls naturally have a low self-esteem. I don't know what does it. Could be our society, something like that. But they fucking live for those moments where every other girl looks at her and says, man, I wish I was her right now. So I remember this. I write down in my little diary, I didn't have a diary, I'm just talking about storing the memory in my head that next year's invitation needs to be fucking amazing. And believe it or not, this girl was stupid enough to actually continue dating me for a year. So now the timeline is 1 year later, the exact same month or whatever, where I asked her my junior year, but now it's the senior year. And I remember, she wants me to ask her in a public fashion. But that, my friends, is where she fucked up. For those mad about my use of language, there is no better way to have said that sentence. I remembered. I have to ask her in a public fashion. Oh, and I was going all out with this one. So I've established that she's the smartest girl in the school with the highest GPA, a GPA so high that it makes my KD look small. During that particular week of school, she was finalizing her grades, and she was borderline on some grades. And her valedictorian status, which means having the highest GPA in the school status, was threatened. If she didn't get the A's in her class, she wouldn't retain that status anymore, and that scared the shit out of her. So what did I do as a loving and caring boyfriend? I talked to the teacher where her grade was borderline, and I said, all right, Mrs. whatever your name is. I know my girlfriend is going to have like a pre-excused absence for her doctor appointment or dentist appointment, whatever the hell she had scheduled that day. So obviously she's going to have to make up whatever little dinky homework assignment she had due today. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell her that she missed a test because tests count towards so much of your grade. And you need to tell her that she needs to take this test immediately or she's going to receive 0 credit for it on the next day, even if she had the excused absence. Here's the kicker. I was the one who was going to design this test. So I worked with the teacher. I had a nice question down there that said, will you go to prom with the handsome, fantabulous, ever so attractive CammyCakes? And then it said A, yes, B, absolutely, C, positively, or D, yes. See, I was smart. This way, she couldn't say no. Before I went home that day, I double-checked the plan with the teacher, and she said, yeah, as soon as your girl comes in the class with her excused absence or whatever, I'm going to tell her she missed a test and force her to make it up. To which I said, all right, awesome. So I went back home, went to sleep, got ready for my next day of school, went to the weight room, started lifting, went throughout my day, and it was getting closer to lunchtime where she had that particular English class. All of her classmates were considered the smartest kids in the school. So naturally, smart kids joined band, and I had band that period. So a couple of them who have classes with my girlfriend tell me all the silly little shit that she does every single day, and we laugh about it. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let me tell you how the prom invitation went. So it went exactly perfect. She goes in the class, she gives the teacher her pre-excused absence, and then she freaks out when her teacher tells her that she actually missed a test. The question that I implemented on the test was the very final question. And keep in mind, this was a test that had information that she could never have known. There's no amount of studying that would ever get her the correct answers on this test. So she was stressing out. She went into the middle, teacher's office area, away from everybody in a separate room to take her test. And so she's in that room for a good 30 minutes. She actually breaks down crying, taking this test, because she feels like her valedictorian status is in jeopardy. And then she finally gets to the last question. She starts bursting out laughing, cursing my name, and walks into her classroom holding my bullshit test, waving it in front of the teacher, with like her face red and tear stained, a little bit like ugly, like from crying so vigorously. And all of her classmates are like, "Girl, what's wrong with you? What happened?" They were really concerned for her. And then she like slams the test on the table to show them all the results of my genius. So as my band period is coming to a close, kids getting into the next band period start to tell me the hilarity that ensued. They're like, "Cammy, you are a fucking savage, but you messed up." Like, she was crying. They give me the whole rundown of the story. And I think this is the funniest shit I have ever heard in my entire life. I still laugh to this day thinking about it. But before I even talk to my girlfriend, of course, the rumor flies across the school that I am a legend. I make eye contact with a couple of my cheerleading teammates as I like go to see the results of my devious plan, and they kind of give me that nod of approval and say something like, "That was pretty fucking funny." After about a minute of walking, I finally see my tear-stained girlfriend, and I have just a beaming smile on my face, because I already know what happened before she tells me. And you guys are probably psychic enough to know what's about to happen. First words out of her mouth are like, "You're such a jerk," or "You're an asshole." Of course. But she also kind of laughs at it, because she knows deep down it was a fucking great invitation to prom. So me, not missing a beat, I ask something like, "How'd your test go?" And she hands me the test that I so deviously created, and I flip it over to the back. And she had wrote this like letter paragraph response of how I was so mean in creating the test, but it was also one of the cutest things she's ever seen kind of response in the back. And I was like, "All right, yeah, she's taking me to prom." Got really excited about it, and then I wanted to embarrass her more by dancing with her in the halls, to which she's like, "Oh, okay, I think I've been embarrassed enough." And then that kind of changed the subject enough so we could go on with our days. But for the rest of the day, even the teachers were like, "Cammy, please tell the class what you did." And I was like, "Why not?" So there's a big moral to this story. If Cammy asked you to go to Disney World instead of junior year prom, pick Disney World. Okay, obviously I'm not going to end the story there. Here's the part where I tell you young men or young women, because this is 2017, watching this video, don't be afraid to do something just because of what other people think. In high school, it's a very temporary stage of your life. Most of the people who I went to high school with, I don't even talk to anymore. However, enjoy high school while you have it. It is such a fun experience. The last thing you want to do is wake up in a cold sweat 5 years from now and say, "Damn, I should have asked that girl/guy out to prom, but I didn't have the balls or ovaries," because I'm sometimes politically correct on this channel, "to do it." I'm not joking about this one. There is no worse feeling in the world than not knowing. If she says no, great, it's done and over with. I'll give you my real life example on this one because it was maybe a year ago at best. I occasionally talked to this one girl. I went to the cheerleading gym with her all the time. I had one class with her and talked to her a lot. She was like my honest version of an 11 out of 10. Like, that's fucking wife that girl up right away status. And I made the mistake of assuming that she'd be in another class with me so that I'd have the opportunity to ask her out on a proper date after she got to know me a little bit better and like me more than that current day. But that day never came because she fucking graduated. And literally just now, because I mentioned it and reminded myself of that day, I looked her up. She's married now. Let that sink in. I will never have that opportunity again. So the worst thing she could have said at that moment was, "No, don't really feel like it. You're fucking ugly. You play Destiny and have a 1.5 KD. I only date guys with a 2.0 KD. Get on my level," and then like walks away and out of my life. So I really don't know what to say if those stories didn't motivate you to go out, get creative, be romantic, be nice, be humble to your girlfriends or girls that you're interested in or guys that you're interested in, and ask them to prom. Because if I find out you were planning to do it but never ended up doing it, and instead decided to just chill at home with your boys and play some Destiny, I will find your ass in free for all and make you experience a level of rejection that this girl or guy doesn't have the capability to make you feel. So just make it easier on everyone, grow some balls, and ask your girl out. Or guy, because we're politically correct. I normally would have cut to an outro right here, but could we take a second to appreciate the fact that I said that girl is an 11 out of 10, wife her up status, and then literally after saying that, I look her up, and she's fucking married. How hilarious is that? And like a bit sad at the same time, but like, that's funny. Kinda. When your guns don't work like they used to before, and I can't help but blame Bungie. Yeah, you should probably subscribe to this channel, and I'll stop the singing. It's for the benefit of everybody. Just do it!